100% pure rock. 107.7 The Bone.
I'm Nikki Blakk, and in the studio with me tonight, I have Chuck Billy of Testament and Mike Sloat, who directed Testament's most recent video, Native Blood, which is going to be in the American Indian Film Festival, apparently in competition this weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, Friday night's the viewing, and Saturday night's the award ceremony. But the film festival started on last Friday, so it goes for a week. Different artists, short films, just all kinds of stuff. Different things, but we have the video in it, which I thought was exciting. You know? So yeah.
I mean, cool. Aside from like Metal Hammer and the usual metal awards, have you guys had a video go into a competition like that before?
No, never. I mean, we really haven't done videos in a long time. We did one for the last record, but this record, this song was definitely a special song, and it had a special vibe and meaning to me. And I brought Mike in, and he made my vision come alive, and somebody's seen it and they thought it was good enough to enter the competition, and we were like, wow, right on. And I didn't really know much about the film festival, but it's here at the Palace of Fine Arts. It's been out in San Francisco apparently for many years, and a bunch of friends and everybody's gonna have a good time this weekend checking it out.
So for people who missed it when you were on the Metal Zone with me and we talked all about the video, do you want to give people like an overview of how the video came about and, you know, the themes that obviously are relating to the film festival content? Yeah,
I'll let Mike join in here, but but first when you do a video, we weren't planning to spend a fortune on a video, and I wasn't sure if it was just going to be a performance video, but I had a concept, and I threw the concept out to Mike, and he just kind of ran with it. And
how did you describe it to Mike when you told him?
I was expecting a fortune.
Yeah.
And they told me what they had, and I was like, okay, I can work with that.
Yeah, I mean, the song was what I wanted to do is show a Native American boy growing through life, growing up, having his voice be heard and having a message and standing strong. And I kind of just threw this whole layout to Mike thinking there's no way we're going to be able to pull this off, and
not in 5.5 minutes.
No.
It was a stretch for sure.
Yeah, and when we came into the video, I mean, he knew exactly what he was going to go for. And when I've seen the first take of the finished product, I was just blown away. I was like, whoa, he got everything exactly what I was kind of envisioned. The meaning was very powerful, and just from the first edit. And it's rare that you get a video and you're just pretty blown away by the first edits. Usually tweak and tweak and tweak. This one, there wasn't much. I mean, Mike hit it right on out of the park.
So Mike, when Chuck explained his idea of the concept to you, did you just take everything he said, or did you have stuff that you kind of wanted to incorporate?
It was a lot of his ideas as he was explaining them. I was coming up with my own ideas at the same time. A good friend of mine, Crow, is a Native American, so I bounced ideas off of him to kind of keep it legit, Native American. But yeah, it was like he's saying, it was just a million ideas, and we tried to lay them out and make a decent story out of it.
How would you describe the finished product for people who haven't seen the video yet?
I think Eric actually described it pretty well. It's kind of old school the way it's like an old school music video. It's got performance and it's got a story that goes throughout the whole thing. So, I mean, I would say it's a struggle. Like Chuck was saying, if you listen to the lyrics, it's a struggle. It's Native Americans struggling to be heard in a white man's world, and that's kind of how it plays out.
So it's a new take on a very classic theme, which I'm sure is what attracted the American Indian Film Festival. And in the studio with me tonight, we have Chuck Billy from Testament and Mike Sloat, who directed the video. And we'll be talking about it a little bit more. But first, some more Bay Area love. This is Y&T on 107.7 The Bone. 107.7 The Bone. That is the Stone Temple Pilots with Interstate Love Song. I'm Nikki Blakk, and in the studio with me tonight, I have Chuck Billy from Testament and Mike Sloat, the director of their most recent video, Native Blood, which is going to be in the American Indian Film Festival, which is happening right now. And is the entire film festival taking place at the Palace of Fine Arts, or is it taking place at theaters all around San Francisco?
It's all around the Bay. They have evening viewings over at the Palace of Fine Arts. That's where it's going to be Friday for our viewing, Friday night. And then the actual awards ceremony is at the Palace of Fine Arts as well. It's on Saturday.
And the Testament Native Blood video is nominated in the music video category for the American Indian Film Festival.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's because when we did the album and the bonus stuff, there was a lot of cool backstage stuff that we had on there that we thought, well, let's turn that in and see if we can put it in another category or get it in there, because the video was such a story, and it's like watching a cool story. So we're like, well, maybe we can get it in a short film or something. We'll give them everything we got, and it just made it into the video category, which was cool. We're good with that.
Because I remember when you were on the Metal Zone, we had talked about it, and you had said that you had so much great footage that, I mean, obviously there was no way you could whittle it all down to a 5.5 minute song. Is the song 5.5 minutes?
Something
like that, yeah. And you were talking about maybe doing an extended version or like a storyline and then finishing with the video.
Yeah, maybe down the line. I mean, that would be something, because the story is a great story. If we can extend the story into a 15-minute piece or something, or 20-minute piece, it'd be pretty cool, because I'm sure Mike's had a ton of footage from there. And
how many hours, Mike, did you actually end up with that you had to whittle down to 5.5 minutes?
There wasn't a terrible amount. It was maybe, an hour of story and probably a couple hours of performance.
And Chuck, you filmed this on the reservation that is your family's.
Yeah, up in Hopland, California. And that was a part of everything, as well as that, me and some friends have been like working the land and getting it prepared just for us to go hang out and camp out and stuff. And when the thought of the video and what I wanted to see for the band live is, I just pictured these big giant bonfires and us playing and filming through that. And the first thing I'm thinking is like,
because fire is metal.
We've been working on that property that was meant to be. We got a spot that we can do this. And it was, the great thing about it is I have a cousin, Brian, that lives up there. And he's on the tribal council, and he kind of just stepped in and really took over and
that was amazing.
Organized the fire department, the police department, the tribal council. He got the elders. I mean, he just got that, and then the community really just like showed up, for the shoot, which is actually in itself a cool story, because everybody kind of minds their own business up there, but everybody came to the shoot and brought their chairs and we're a part of it and watching, because it's not every day that you bring a full production video crew on the reservation out there to do something like that. And there's a lot of kids there, and we had fun. We brought a bunch of shirts and handed them out to all the kids. Was wearing Testament shirts that weekend. But it really was a meaningful thing for just me personally, connecting with the tribe again and meeting cousins out there that I haven't seen or even met before. And it was a big thing, and I talked to my cousin Brian, who's coming down for the festival. He tells me people still talk about it. There's still a buzz about what went down there.
It was the big event on the reservation for the year. It really was.
So, and I'm planning with him right now, because it did get nominated and hopefully win an award. But we're planning a viewing up there, where we're going to go in the community center on the reservation and bring all the tribal council and the elders and set up a big screen down there, and maybe have a barbecue in the evening, dinner, and just have everybody check it out and see the final product, because I don't think everybody has the internet or are going to see the video.
Right.
So it'd be, I think, something cool again to bring back to the reservation and go, here's what we did and what you guys seen that night. Here it is, And it'd be even nicer if we had an award to go with it.
Right.
Because
hint, hint, American Indian Film Festival.
Because, all my cousins and family and everybody on the reservation was there. And
in it, practically.
Yeah, they were. And then all the backstage footage, which hopefully we can expand on just a video and show more of the making of stuff. And they can all see themselves up on the big screen and go, yeah, it's me right there,
I was so scared when I first met Brian. And I was like, so he was going to get our actors together, and I said, who are they? He said,
is he as big as the rest of the Billies?
Yeah, he's a big dude, long hair. Yeah, I said, who are our actors? Oh, it's my son. It's
my nephew,
my nephew, my cousin, my uncle's brother's friend. It was random, so many random people, and that never works out in film. And it was like, oh God. and they just nailed it. They all pulled it off so well. It was amazing.
You got the tribe. They pulled together. That's
Brian
awesome.
came through so much as
big time, yeah.
Gene couldn't make it one of the nights, and Alex
okay.
made it in one night. So, you know, man, what are we gonna do when Alex comes?
For people who don't know, this is your drummer Gene Hoagland, who also plays drums in Death Clock. So he has limited availability. And Alex Skolnick, your guitar player, also has another band, the Alex Skolnick Trio.
Right.
So Alex living in New York, he's only able to fly in here and there. And
Gene was doing the Death show here in the Bay Area that night.
Right.
So he couldn't make the first. Yeah, he made the first night, couldn't make the second night.
Yeah.
So Alex could only make the second night. So we're like, well, how are we going to pull this off? You're going to have to shoot and just.
So you had
not
one
get the
night that you
drummer.
shot with the guitar player and one night that you shot with the drummer.
Yeah, but my cousin Brian was
love this.
he filled in as Gene.
He's a fake Gene.
Yeah, he wears he has long hair and dark and ponytail, big guy.
Yeah.
And he just let his hair down and put his head down
his
and
face the
started
whole time.
bashing all the cymbals. So you wouldn't even notice it unless you really.
I didn't. When you told me that and we watched it for the first time, I was like, oh wait, I think I did see fake Gene. I think I did.
Yep,
Is that?
Yep.
But
So he went the extra mile for this video for sure. I mean, he really made it happen because I couldn't have pulled it off and got all the people in there. And again, that's just how special it all came together. You know.
And you living in the Bay Area and the reservation being what, 3.5, 4 hours north?
2.5, 3 hours.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
It's a little bit of a distance, and I'm sure getting a hold of everybody isn't as easy as it looks if you're not like physically up there.
Yeah, especially up there. The last thing they've ever done is shot a video or anything like that, and to go around and go, hey, we need some people to be in a video. You interested? They're like, what are you talking? You know,
are you
crazy?
crazy?
Yeah, exactly. And I know there was some shooting issues Mike had. I know for a couple days just organizing,
Well, there was
a young girl, and
there was a death on the reservation, not caused by us, but there was a death on the reservation while we were there, and it just threw everything into a tailspin on how we're going to get it done. So there were several trips to go back up and finish it, but at the end of it, did you meet that guy named Stink that was up there?
Did you meet the guy named
Stink,
Stink?
yeah.
Stink. He made us Indian tacos at the end of the last day, and they were amazing. So it was
Yeah.
good.
What's the difference between an Indian taco and a Mexican taco?
Indian fry bread.
fry bread. It's
nice. Okay.
It's like a big, thicker tortilla, but it's fried and they're massive.
It was good.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it was just really cool the way everything just happened. It really came together, and Brian was a really big part of that.
Awesome. In the studio with me tonight, Chuck Billy of Testament and Mike Sloat, director of Testament's newest video, which is nominated for an award at the American Indian Film Festival, which is happening all this week in San Francisco. And on the way, I have got a little bit of Thin Lizzy. It's 107.7 The Bone. 107.7 The Bone and the Rolling Stones with Gimme Shelter. I'm Nikki Blakk, and in the studio with me tonight, I have Chuck Billy from Testament and Mike Sloat, who directed Testament's recent video, Native Blood, which is going to be in the American Indian Film Festival, which is happening all this week in San Francisco, and is going to be previewed this Friday night at the Palace of Fine Arts.
7 p.m.
So tickets are on sale for these, I'm sure, for showings all over the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And specifically for the competition that you guys are in, which is this Friday night at the Palace of Fine Arts. People who want to get tickets can go to AIFISF.com to pick them up, or you can just Google American Indian Film Festival San Francisco, and I'm sure it'll come up pretty easily.
Yeah,
And,
it's real cheap. It's $10.
Yeah. And you
know.
guys are all going, right?
Yeah, all the band.
I mean, I guess except for Alex, who's probably in New York, and Gene, who's probably
gone,
who's on tour with Death
The rest
Clock.
of the guys are bringing their families. My brothers, and of course, all the kids in the video
Coming down from the
coming
reservation.
down. They're all coming down.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's gonna be a good little get together, and they're gonna have a nice little after party at the Hyatt down there in Embarcadero after the award show. So I think it'll be awesome.
So you've been involved, pretty heavily involved in the tribe for a long time, and you just got recognized, has it been 2 years ago now, by the
2 years, yeah.
Smithsonian Museum, which I think is kind of amazing. Can you tell people about that?
Well, that was a display called Up Where We Belong, and it was Native Americans and pop culture. Mm-hmm. And that was on display, I believe, about 8 months, and actually it just opened in New York. I think about a month ago.
So now your Smithsonian display is on tour.
Yeah, it's on tour in New York. It's funny because Alex actually, he told me one day, I was going to DMV and I walked by this museum and bam, there it was. And so, that's pretty cool. It's moving around to different museums.
Now, how did you get on the radar of the Smithsonian?
I'm not sure how, but our management contacted me and said they're interested for you representing kind of heavy metal, Native American and pop culture of what you do. And I thought that was great, and wasn't sure who else was in there, but I know like Randy Castillo was a part of that. And I was just blown away that, to me, again, my family, because my grandmother actually is in the Smithsonian for basket weaving, because that's what our tribe is known for. So she has baskets in the Smithsonian. So I was like, it's kind of cool,
it's family tradition now.
Family tradition, doing something in the Smithsonian for two different end of the spectrum kind of things. So,
yeah, two different generations and definitely two different,
yeah,
two different arts, but definitely two arts.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool, and and off of that, more things popped up. I actually had the first display in the Hard Rock Cafe in Albuquerque. I was the first Native American to have a full-time display there. And
that just happened last year, right?
Last year, yeah. A group of guys from Native American Entertainment Magazine in Albuquerque. I did a few interviews with him, and he was like on a mission to like make that happen for me. And now he's on a mission to try to get more Native Americans and other Hard Rock cafes for permanent displays, which, it's a great cause.
Absolutely. I mean, Native American culture is definitely something that I think everybody can acknowledge is dwindling in the U.S. So I think anything that you can do to promote it is pretty awesome. And you're in a really unique position at this point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, I was taken back by it, but on the other hand, I was like, okay, I'll take that, and I'll represent. So yeah, I think it's great, and I think this again, it's been a big part of my life. Like when I had the cancer in 2001, the Native American culture side of me growing up kind of got me through a lot of that time. So it's just funny that the Native American part of me has really opened up a different part of my life over the last 10 years. So
did you spend time getting like Western medicine treatment and tribal treatment?
I did. I was doing chemotherapy, and then I traveled down to Southern California to the Santa Barbara Mountains and did some sweat lodges down there. And then I've traveled up to the Sierras and had some more spiritual kind of inspiration from a guy, Lupon, a direct descendant of Geronimo, and he lives with wild wolves. And it was just this big, crazy experience I went through there. And it really enhanced my spirituality as far as a Native culture. And so it's just kind of funny the way everything since then has kind of took that path, with my Native heritage.
It clearly pushed you in a direction.
It sure did.
And for people who don't know, you've been cancer-free for how many years now?
Going on 11 years now.
And for people who aren't really familiar with the metal genre, I like to credit you with single-handedly reviving Bay Area thrash, which obviously was hugely popular in the 80s and then took a bit of a nap through the 90s.
Yeah.
And everyone came together for your benefit.
Yeah, and that to me, that's just another thing. It's like, it's in a weird way that I had to go through that, for that to happen. I mean, I still, we just toured Death Angel, and they always give me props for, getting them back together. A lot of bands put aside their differences and whatever was going on through the 90s and came out on the other end. And here they are rocking today, doing great records. And
10 years
out
later.
on tour and enjoying it. And I'm like, I'll take it, So, it's just weird the way things happen. And it's a full circle, for me.
And I know that a lot of times people feel that Native American culture and metal in the metal community and don't get a lot of recognition. So to see these two things come together in the Native Blood video and get recognized by the American Indian Film Festival this weekend is kind of amazing. In the studio with me tonight, I have Chuck Billy from Testament and Mike Sloat, who directed the video, and they're going to continue to tell us about it with Led Zeppelin on the way. It's 107.7 The Bone. 107.7 The Bone. It's Mandatory Metallica with Enter Sandman. I'm Nikki Blakk, and Chuck Billy from Testament is in the studio with me, along with Mike Sloat, who directed Testament's most recent video, Native Blood, which is up for an award at the American Indian Film Festival, which is happening all this week in San Francisco. And the video for Native Blood will be screened this Friday night at the Palace of Fine Arts. Tickets are on sale now at AIFISF.com, or you can just Google American Indian Film Festival San Francisco and it'll pop up and you can pick up your tickets. They're like $10.
Yeah.
So all the local members of Testament will be in attendance. Actors from the video are coming down from the reservation to be there. Yeah, family/actors. Yeah. That's what happens when you're in a tribe, right?
That's what happens, man.
So while you guys were filming the video, for people who don't know, you went up north to the reservation.
Yeah, Hopland, California.
Up in Hopland, and it was like a unique experience in filming, right? I mean, Mike, you've had experience filming Bay Area bands. You've done videos for Machine Head, and it's not like you're a stranger to video shoots, but this was a little bit different for you in some cases?
Yeah, this was a pretty big production. We had our good friend Ace build some gigantic fires.
Because fire is metal.
Yes, for sure. And when we got there, he had them about, he had pallets built up about 15 high, and we're like, let's maybe try
15.
Let's try 10 or maybe even 8. And he's like, no, you're gonna want them big. You're gonna want them big. So fast forward to
federal land, right? Different rules out there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we had like Chuck was saying, we had the fire department standing by. We had a water tank. Ace had a hose in his hand, just waiting. But yeah,
just in case.
But they got big. We're doing the first take with the band, and they're surrounded. They basically are inside
the fire zone.
Circle.
Fires, yeah. And I'm, 60 seconds in, I'm buried in the camera, and I look, and Chuck just runs. And I look up, and everyone, the whole band is standing 15 feet away, just panting. I'm like, what's wrong?
Why are you leaving my shot? Right?
Yeah.
What's going on? And I walk over and we can't. There's no way you can stand in there. I felt Eric's guitar. You couldn't touch the frets or the strings. They were blazing hot.
Did anybody's instruments melt?
The drums bubbled up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think
the
Greg's
platform that it was on. Yeah.
Greg's his arm hairs burnt, it melted off.
Literally, his arm hair burnt off.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was
Danger
hot,
zone.
but I mean, it was for the shoot, and
had to do it.
Me and Gene were the last ones in there. I mean, we're going, and
it was.
I look over, and Eric's about 50 feet out of the frame, and I'm like, okay, how is he in the shot? Looking around, and everybody's bailed on us.
Everybody just ran.
Here we go.
Chuck stayed for a good solid 60 seconds.
You're dedicated.
Just had to run.
Then we got out of there, and then we watched right over Gene's drums. About 30 seconds later, this big flame just went right over where Gene would be sitting. I'm like, good thing we got up and got out of there when we did.
Yeah.
So it was a scary moment, but I think,
Gene would have had a Michael Jackson incident.
Oh yeah.
Would have been scary.
Right.
Yeah. It was great. I think Mike and his crew did a great job, and it was a camping trip, out on the reservation for us. So it was nice.
It was
Awesome.
cool. I think the capper of that whole thing, the fire getting too big on the first take, was when Ace grabbed the hose and tried to open it, and it just went, it shot everywhere, and everyone started running. That one was.
It was like a sprinkler.
Yeah, it was like 20 seconds of, oh my God, what have we done?
You were in a cartoon all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It was an Acme hose.
Yeah, and we had a motorhome parked right there in the flame, and the wind was just like going right. I'm like, oh no, the motorhome's gonna like blow up and explode. Make sure you get on film.
Yeah. Keep the cameras rolling.
Yeah.
Good times though.
So what is on deck for you coming up, Chuck? Testament, DDP. You are a busy guy. Film festivals.
Yeah. Well, the DDP record came out, I'd say a month after the Testament record came out. And that's doing well, and been plugging that. And don't really have any plans for any shows, but we never know how that'll go.
Now, are both records on Nuclear Blast, or is DDP self-produced again?
No, actually, we sold the DDP, the first record, and the second record to a company out of Holland. The name escapes me right now, But they were interested in the first album, so we gave them that because we just did that ourselves through our own website.
Right.
So we sold them that and the new record.
So for people who want to buy it, where do they find it? DublinDeathPatrol.com?
You can find it there, and I can't think of the label where it's at, but I'm sure if you Googled it, you'll find it out there.
So now people can get both albums, because the first one was a limited release when you guys self-produced it.
Yeah, and they redid that. They reworked that, did new artwork on it, and remastered it again. And
so the collectors have to buy it again.
You have to go get it. Yeah.
You got to get the new copy. It's shiny and special.
Yeah, that's going on. And then Testament leaves for Europe the 25th of this month, and we're going over to England to play a few shows in Holland, and going to Russia for a couple shows. The coldest
little time in Siberia.
Yeah, exactly. And then for the first time, December 15th or so, we're going to India, to Bangalore, India. That'll be our first trip ever, and that's going to be a pretty exciting trip.
That should be very interesting. And Testament shows in the Bay Area, still nothing on deck, right?
I can't announce it yet, but there's something going to be coming up in next year.
Okay, early next year?
February.
All right.
Actually at the end of January, but
okay.
That'll be next time we meet.
Yeah, you'll come back and we'll talk all about that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, for everybody who wants to check out the video, they can see it at testamentlegions.com.
Yes.
Or they can go to Testament, facebook.com/testamentband, I think is your Facebook. Mm-hmm. And of course, they can also go to the viewing at the American Indian Film Festival this Friday night at the Palace of Fine Arts. You can pick up your tickets at aifisf.com. And Metallica, since we are in the middle of mandatory Metallica, I think, Chuck, you should pick the song. I mean, you're no stranger.
Let's see. Well, let's see. What is the song I picked? Shortest Straw. I think that's the one, right?
No, we were talking about fire.
Oh, okay.
Fire.
Okay, let's do Fight Fire with Fire.
Awesome.
100% pure rock. 1077 The Bone.